I'm going to present to you our very special guest today, the prolific and incomparable Mr. Moe Factz. Mr. Moe, what's up, man? Mr. Anonymous, what's up, bro? How you feeling?
Don't say that because they might put me on another list. I'm doing good. How you doing, Hotep?
Man, life is treating me very, very well. I have no complaints, man. I'm over here enjoying some California rolls. What's that? Water? That's cool. Thank you. Wait, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I'm over here enjoying some California rolls.
You say you're enjoying California rolls?
Yeah, the Hoteps might not be Hotep approved, might not be Dr. Sebi approved, but at least it ain't pepperoni pizza, man. The other day, somebody tweeted me. It was like, yeah, you was eating pepperoni pizza? Because I was eating pepperoni pizza on a live. You know you can't have no pork when you Hotep. He like, bro, you had pepperoni pizza?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, my bad, dog. I failed you. But, boy, I don't eat pork like that. But pepperoni pizza? Woo! I love pepperoni pizza.
I don't eat pork like that either.
Yeah?
I don't eat pork like that either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to date this one girl. Her family was from Louisiana. So I used to have, like, you know, the gumbo and smothered pork chops. Oh, my God. Nah, I could not turn down that gumbo. You know, we got the crab and all that in there and the sausage and the...
Yeah.
Oh, man. You ever had, like, real traditional gumbo from Louisiana before?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Shout out to Bernice, little town of Bernice, Louisiana. I spent like 2 weeks down there. So very small town. Didn't even have a McDonald's.
Oh, damn.
So I got the official gumbo.
Okay. Yeah, that official gumbo was something else. All right, let's hop into the topic. No bullshit. The other day, white folks decided to run down on the Capitol. There's a lot swirling around this story. A lot of details are coming out since then. Let's just talk about your emotions towards that, and then we'll address how the Black community reacted to that. How did you feel about the Capitol riots? Did you agree or disagree? Let's start there.
Leading up to it, I felt like it was a setup, but I talk about this on my show a lot about infiltration, being parts of groups. That's why I made the joke before when you was like the anonymous. I'm like, hey, easy. You know what I'm saying? Like, because people can misconstrue like, oh, he's part of anonymous. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be careful when you get lumped into groups because you'll be identified as the worst of that group. If that's what they see fit. And I saw it building and I was like, this is not a good look.
You talking about the day of
freedom of speech?
You said
yes, the day of.
Okay.
I mean, I listen to all spectrums, right? The far right, the far left, and that's my catch line is pay attention to everything, and the truth will reveal itself.
Okay.
So I heard it building up in right wing media. Oh, we're gonna be heard, which is fine, but you got to be careful. The media has the power to shape and portray you as the way they want to portray you. And this is what I saw it as. It reminded me of how they did the Black Panthers.
Okay.
The Black Panthers had a just cause, right? Addressing police brutality and things of that nature. But their methods, they were giving guns and, you know, confront police officers on the street, you know, and, you know, doing arrests. And they allow themselves to be portrayed a certain way that's negative by the, you know, the masses. And I saw this as a setup the same way. And you can see how the media covered this whole summer, and you know you weren't gonna get a fair shake. So you have to be aware of all of this. I am not a Donald Trump hater. I think he has. I mean, I gave him a fair shot as far as politics is concerned, because I think we're too we talked about this before. Black people are too dedicated to the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
So I'm open to anybody to listen to anybody that has the tangibles, that brings something to the table that'll help people like me, and that people like me being ADOS, and not the group ADOS. Let me make that clear, but the lineage ADOS. So, and I use that term because it clearly identifies who I am as a person, not affiliation. Go back to the group thing again. I'm very careful about who I associate with. But I gave Donald Trump a fair shot because he came out and said, "What do you have to lose?" And he told a lot of truth and shook up a lot of things with that statement. But one thing I did point out about Donald Trump, people might get mad at me, is the biggest ist that he is not a racist. It's a narcissist.
Okay.
And he couldn't see. I covered this in my episode 45 Savage with Adam Curry. You can check us out on my YouTube channel. And I went through all I think it's like 9 signs of a narcissist, or 11. I think it's 9. Okay. And he fit it to a T. And I think this showed exactly his narcissism. Okay. Because he know how it was going to be portrayed, but instead of taking an L, even though on another show I proved that there was some funny numbers with these voting and how it's counted, and to be honest with you, the vote that was allegedly stolen, air quotes, pips, was the black vote. Let's just keep it 100.
Okay,
the black vote was the vote that was stolen allegedly.
The black vote was stolen. Okay.
Yes, yeah. I mean, you look at the city: Detroit, Philadelphia, Atlanta. Come on, you don't have to be an engineer to figure out the correlation here.
That's interesting.
And I just don't think they had the numbers, and they had to keep running the number. And this is my personal feeling. I did a extensive look into the possibility of it, but it doesn't matter because they were going to pick who they wanted to pick. And so, with that said, his narcissism, I think, got the best of him because he wanted to at least have one last send off and show I didn't lose.
Okay.
And he didn't think, on the 40 chess level that he's known for thinking on.
Right.
So that's my take on the lead up.
I want to go back to something you said. You said you felt like it was a setup. Setup by who? And what part of it was a setup? Was it the organization of the event, or are you just talking about like how people could potentially be treated? Or are you talking about that John Sullivan kid?
One of the things when I say setup is this, and I laid this out with the riots that went on, the peaceful protests, the riots that went on this summer.
Okay.
It's like first wave, second wave, third wave, right? So the first wave are your activists, and they're on the ground. They're truly there to state their grievances.
Yeah.
The second wave are your agent provocateurs,
right? That
come in and break the glass, and that's a metaphor for civility and boundaries. Okay. Once that glass is broken, then the third wave of criminality and debauchery comes in. Because all civility is gone once the second wave acts. And you saw this in all the cities across America during this summer, doing the Antifa / Black Lives Matter riots, protests, whatever you want to call them. The people on the ground would show up first. It would be daylight. They would be protesting. As soon as the sun went down, that glass will break. And then that would be the second wave, and then the third wave would come in, and that would be your average run-of-the-mill criminals.
Yep.
That would loot.
Yep.
And set fires. And this is a normal. I mean, this is a strategy. Yes. So I think the same thing happened on the other side. You had your first wave, your people, and let me be really clear. I mean, can we be completely honest here?
Okay.
The people I think in the Capitol were Donald Trump fans.
Okay.
And they wanted to send them, like it's like a football game, the people that paint their chest red and blue, and and put on their costumes, and that's what that was. That wasn't really an insurgency. I don't believe the majority. I didn't see it that way, because to be honest with you, the real people that could cause the insurgency are not going to places where they can't carry their guns.
Okay.
Let's just keep it 100.
I agree.
So that's how I see it. Now, and I just think it was a trap. It was a trap.
Now, Natasha Kayleen's in the chat, and she said this was a trap to make excuses to impose new laws and steal our rights. What are your thoughts on that? You agree with that? You think that was...
I do agree with that, because if you see, I do agree with that. And I had a conversation with a good friend of mine, E-Class, I always bring him up. And the way I see it is, they let the left protest all summer and set the stage. So then the right said, well, if the left can get away with it, we should too. And they've thrown this T word around both sides. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to contribute to the problem, but you know what T word I'm referring to. And the government's like, yes. There's like those memes like, do you want this or this? And it says yes. You know what I'm saying? So because you want everything. That's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to sweep up both sides and bring in civility. Their kind of civility. And they're going to get rid of what they call extremists. And it's problem, reaction, solution, right? That's how it works. And it gives you justification that, well, we're going to be fair. My dad used to say something growing up, because I'm going to whoop all of y'all asses to make sure I get the right one. So that's what daddy government's going to do right now. He's going to whoop everybody ass to make sure he get the right one. And he's like, well, I was fair to both sides. So you're going to see the far left and far right be removed from social media and these things, and it's going to be very sanitized, and you're going to get back to business as usual in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, back to business as usual is right. Hotep with a $4.99 super chat says, stay with it, big brothers. This conversation is much needed right now, and even more appreciated by all of us. Hotep and Bill, my brother. Hotep and Bill. There was a recent finding. FBI has arrested a gentleman by the name of John Sullivan. Did you see that story? Black Lives Matter I did see activist.
Yes.
I feel like that lends to your, first wave, second wave, third wave idea, right? Because I feel like there's a possibility that Antifa was implanted in there, and here's what I told the conservatives last year and the year before. I said, it's not exactly Black Lives Matter, or I should say the black community, that's creating all these riots. Are we looting? Yes. The riots and burning down shit, that's definitely not no black people shit. That's just not what we do. So I said, there's antagonists that are embedded inside the protests. And everyone's like, no, you're crazy. It's Black Lives Matter. I'm like, nah, it's these Antifa black bloc dudes. So I feel like here again, they were victim of that same strategy, because these black bloc Antifa types are radical, and I feel like, right. So what do you think? You think that was a possibility, that it wasn't Trump supporters that breached the Capitol? It was potentially BLM and Antifa?
Well, we got to be careful when we say, was it them that breached it, or were they driven to breach it? Because it's clearly there were some Trump supporters in there. Clearly, yeah.
Baked Alaska was recently arrested by the FBI. That news broke today. So there was definitely Trump supporters inside the Capitol. What I mean is the initial breach.
But who broke the glass? Who breaks the glass? Right. That's the question. Who broke the glass to the Gucci store?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So who broke the glass, I think, was definitely agent provocateurs.
Okay.
And if you remember back to the Black Lives Matter riots, remember the guy in all black with the umbrella at the AutoZone?
Yeah.
Busting windows, and then they followed him back to alt-right group. or some kind of alt-right connections, right?
Okay.
So I think they have strategically can put these people in place. Say, okay, you're going to make the other side look bad. Whoever you are, the opposite of you, you're going to make them look bad by setting it off. And then once a crowd is riled up and the blood gets to going, we see this in sports rallies, sports riots all the time, post the Super Bowl or college championships. Once the blood gets to flowing, it's like, yeah, let's go do it. And you make a dumb decision. But I take that point on both sides. But I think it was overhyped. I would say that because I'm looking at it and, you know, I was looking at the TV and they're like, oh, these T words. And I see people walking through ropes. And I'm like, what kind of, that's not how that works. You know, it's a lot of conspiracies that go on with this.
Yeah. Do you think? I just think. Go ahead.
To be honest with you, they had to demonize all groups of people. Just like these protests this summer was labeled as Black Lives Matter, even though only maybe 15 of the participants were Black. How does that work? And then you have the Capitol situation where you have maybe at most 10% of the attendees. I mean that's a gross number. I'm just saying, just say 10%. How do you let a group of people be represented by a minority? But what's the silver lining in all of this? I hope we can get some empathy from both sides, because a young lady lost her life. And if it would happen on the other side, they would dig into her past. Their past and like, oh, she got a parking ticket on this day, and she sold drugs or involved in this. It doesn't matter. Unarmed people shouldn't be shot.
Right.
So hopefully the people on the right can find compassion and empathy for the people on the left. And and we can have understanding. To be honest with you, Hotep, it's a big mind screw, bro. All the irony and the seriously, I had to take a step back. I even left social media because of it, because I saw how people were being weaponized and taken advantage of with the narrative. And it's like, now you got the left and Black people snitching and helping the cops that they tried to defund this summer. And you got the right, some components of it that were, we're Blue Lives Matter. And now it's like, oh, but they shot an innocent woman.
Right.
So now you have these two sides that are normally on certain side of the spectrum. They did a complete flip flop. And was that done by on purpose? Maybe. I'm gonna bring up something too. I don't know how conspiratorial you get, but it's funny that two Olympic athletes are at the forefront on both sides of this Capitol thing.
Yeah, I saw that.
If you buy into MK Ultra,
I'm just going there with it.
The Olympic athletes, I'm just saying, it's amazing how you have an Olympic swimmer on one side and an Olympic speed skater on the other side. That's amazing.
I was looking for empathy from the right.
I'm gonna leave it there.
Yeah. I totally get that. I was looking for empathy from the right. I was trying to encourage it. When Black Lives Matter protested, because I'm like, not everybody is the Black Lives Matter evil organization type. Like, some of this stuff is local. Like, we saw the local chapters were complaining about the greater chapter, the mothership chapter, not filtering some of that $100 billion or whatever, 10 million, whatever large amount of money they got, not getting down to the local. And I was telling people there's a difference between these local chapters and that big organization with Soros funds, right? And, some of these protests, like you made a great point. You said, how can you categorize the whole group of people by a minority? by the actions of a minority. So it's a small group of these Black Lives Matter people, Antifa people, who would come in and make a peaceful protest violent. And I got somebody on the ground in Colorado I'm bringing on next Tuesday. He's got some great primary source information, and he talks a lot about, it's going to be a very, very interesting conversation, my homie Trey, and how this stuff sort of coalesces. But it was a great point you said, how can you categorize a group of people based upon a minority? And that's what happened to conservatives at the Capitol. The whole group was castigated based upon the actions of a small minority. And I'm like, see, it's happening to you.
And that's the empathy they need to learn, because that's what's been done to so-called Black people since our existence. They've represented us by a minority. So hopefully the two sides can sit down and not even talk to each other, but at least look at what's presented and say, you know what, maybe our approach is different. Maybe when I didn't do nothing, that meme is a white lady is a patriot. Maybe we need to slow down on the rhetoric. And maybe we need to slow down on defunding the police. Or maybe we need to say, when there's a shooting of a little girl in DC, Black people need to step up and do the same thing they did with these patriots, or so-called patriots on the right-hand side. Get active with them Twitter fingers and say, oh, I see them. This is who it is. You know what I'm saying? The same way they were doing that, let's clean up our communities the same way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was little John. That's who did it, not to be stereotypical, but I'm just saying there's some things that we can learn from this situation. I always try to take away. I say this, there's not wins and losses, it's wins and lessons. Right?
Yeah.
And what is the lesson that we can take away from this? And that lesson is that, one, empathy. Two, both sides have a common adversary.
Yeah.
And three, both sides are being utilized to bring about a bigger initiative. So,
what initiative are you talking about?
Build Back Better. What you mean? The Great Reset.
Both sides are contributing.
What you mean?
Both sides are contributing to the Great Reset. That's a very controversial claim there, Mr. Moe. How do you?
Well, my daddy said I'm gonna whoop both sides to make sure I get the right one.
How do you substantiate that claim, Mr. Moe Factz?
I substantiate that claim by what the outcome will be. Restoring order. You heard Joe Biden say the same thing. Whoa. Y'all getting too far left for me. We ain't doing nothing to the police.
He said law
and order. So there's
nothing.
And I want to say, can we back up a little bit? I mean, I know.
Sure.
I know you probably got a structure for this show, but I want to talk about how we got to this point. I know. I just want to make sure I'm not running rickshaw.
I got you.
Let's be honest here. The Republicans were done with Donald Trump the day that Ruth Bader Ginsburg died. It's over.
Wow.
That was the worst thing that ever happened for him.
Wow.
They didn't need him after that. If she makes it, holds on to the third term, then they got to back him.
Why?
To get that third justice.
Okay.
Because she would retire within the 4 years, but when she passed away, that sealed his fate. It was over. We got our tax cuts. We got our 3 justices. Let's get back to business as usual.
Interesting.
If she hangs on, then they can't. Then they can't do the way they did. You see, they can't play this the way they played it. I'm talking about the Republicans, because Donald Trump was never a Republican. Donald Trump was never an elite. The NFL frowned upon him. Manhattan frowned upon him. His peers frowned upon him. So it's like, oh well, we got it. Well, he got the people right now. He got the, he has the people's hearts. So let's use that. But when she took her last breath, Donald Trump's political career took its last breath.
Quotable right there. When Ruth Bader Ginsburg took her last breath, Donald Trump's career took his last breath. Woo! Let me read this super chat. Adam Rezich.
Now,
go ahead, finish. Go ahead.
no. What I want to say is push back against that. Well, on the other side of these, I want you to push back against that so we can flesh that out.
There's no reason to. It's such an interesting take. I'd have to, think about that after we log off. I never even. You caught me off guard with that one. I'm not.
Because if she lives, the Republican can't leave it up to, Joe Biden do the right thing with the justices. They can't leave that up. When she passes on, it's like we can be done with him. Hey, he's bad for business.
All right, let's help me understand this claim more then, because I don't know what the fuck you talk about. I'll be honest with you. Ruth Bader Ginsburg is a Democrat, right? Or was.
Right.
So what you're saying is,
yes,
when she was out, Trump was able to rally the base to get that next Republican to replace her seat. So once they got that in there,
correct,
they no longer needed Trump. That's
exactly.
rather interesting, Mr. Moe. That's rather fucking interesting. So damn.
Now let's take it the opposite of that. If she survives past November, I think 4th, or it was the 4th, I think. If she survives past that point, the Republicans got to play it different the way they support Donald Trump.
Wait, say that again?
They can't turn his back on him.
If what?
Because they need that third justice.
Right. Yeah, that's a great claim, man. That's fucking top. That's up there, man. That's hard. That's hardcore, yo. Adam Rezich filed out a super chat. He said, one of the most interesting parts of the Capitol riots was the pipe bomb story that was told and immediately memory hold. Thanks for the convo. Ken Thoreau, appreciate you guys. Happy to see the reunion. Yeah. Mo was back. Mo hit me up. He's like, yo, I got to talk to the people. I said, no doubt. We're going to get that scheduled up. We were supposed to go yesterday, but I had shit to do. So we made sure it happened today. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to Sketch. Trish, my mods in the chat. Ebony, appreciate you. Black people said that had they were demonstrated at the Capitol, they would have been treated differently. You agree or disagree, Mr. Moe Factz?
Does it depend on if they were sent or if they were moving on their own?
Ooh. It's a great way to place that. I like that. I agree.
The reason why I say that is look how Baltimore was handled back in 2016, 15. I forget which one year it was. I think it was 16. Compared to how this summer was handled. Baltimore, they were thugs. What are they doing? They did the same thing they did this summer, but the coverage was different.
What was the coverage like?
Because they were sent this summer. Oh, then they were in Baltimore, they were thugs and out of control. Even Obama called them thugs, which we all know thugs is a blanketed word to call people the N-word.
So this was during the Obama administration. And that's what I told a lot of people. I said, a lot of people forget the media was not pro Black Lives Matter in the very beginning. You're right. They was calling them thugs.
I think that was natural.
Correct.
Whenever the black man moves naturally, it'll be demonized. But if you're sent, it's kind of like Animal Farm, with the dogs. The pigs took over, they took the dogs in the house.
Yeah.
If it's the dogs doing the riding, that's fine. It's totally acceptable.
Yeah.
Peaceful. Mostly peaceful. But let us break one window on our own. let us break one window on our own. Got to get these thugs out of here. What is this? Total anarchy.
So it's not exactly...
So that statement has a little nuance to it.
Right. So it's not exactly just racial. It's all about Is it sanctioned or not?
That's a perfect word, sanction. Yes. If it's unsanctioned, you know how it goes.
That's how I looked at it. I said if Black Lives Matter showed up at the Capitol, it would have been cool. But if some Hoteps or some Farrakhan type showed up at the Capitol like that, then yeah, I think that statement is plausible. Probably would have got our ass whooped. Would have been a lot of blood. But Black Lives Matter? I don't know. I think they'd have just opened the door and served them niggas Kool-Aid and fried chicken and said, welcome in.
Did they run up in the Capitol in 16? I think something like they made their way in. They pushed their way in.
They made it
in the Senate. Excuse me.
Yeah, they pushed their way to the Senate floor in the Senate, but that was a bunch of white liberal women under the name and the flag of Black Lives Matter. Of course, there were black people present, but it was mostly white women.
Right.
So it's not exactly equivalent, but it was the Black Lives Matter flag that was flown during that event. Not black faces. I believe.
So I think you made the perfect word, sanction. If it's sanctioned, it's acceptable.
Yeah. I believe that it all depends on how the media decides to spin. Because when them cameras are on, it's different, right? For example, Farrakhan holds the Million Man March, and it don't be no cameras out there. You ever notice that? The media never covers when he has his rally?
You can't give it oxygen. And that's why we have to start questioning the people. We have to start questioning the people that does get camera time. And that's what you do with what I do. Why is this person allowed to talk? Why are we building statues to these certain people? And these other people are demonized. I mean, let's just keep it funky. When Malcolm X gonna get a holiday?
I don't think that's gonna happen, though. Malcolm X was Hotep.
Why not?
I mean, not even BET covered. Not even BET covered Louis Farrakhan's march. Not even BET got no press coverage. You know, so I feel like if there were black people, number one, it wouldn't get press coverage. That way, there wouldn't be a whole lot of cameras to capture the bloodshed. DC McBride said, establishment DS Dems or pubs allow this chaos because they fear the commoners of all colors and philosophies will realize they've been played forever. Mo, a lot of black people say, you know, the United States government is the place we live in is a system of white supremacy. But then they went and turned around and said that it was white supremacists who stormed the Capitol. Is this white supremacists attacking white supremacists?
A house divided against itself can't fall. That's what Christ said.
A house divided against itself.
I don't can't stand, will fall, can't stand.
Right.
So would they risk that, or was it just theater?
A lot of people are saying it was theater. I'm seeing that a lot now.
Bruh. Let's just be right. You got to ask yourself who won from this, who lost. The winners is people for more control, locking people in. The losers, people that question the system of white supremacy. And people, I know some people may roll their eyes when they say, oh, white supremacy, but what you think the deep state is? What do you think the Illuminati is? What do you, people will easily say those things exist, but then they'll say, oh, well, white supremacy don't exist. What do you think they're pushing? And white is not even a color. White is not a color. It's like black is not a color. These are constructs to say who's pure and who is not. Who's allowed in, who's not. Just like you see now, Asian people are considered not people of color.
Mm-hmm.
How does that work?
Power.
So it's for the betterment and the pushing of that system. And that system is about globalization.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a global system.
Mm-hmm.
So when you ask me about the Great Reset, Build Back Better,
Mm-hmm.
it's white supremacy.
Mm-hmm. White as in, because you say it's just a construct, but then you go back and you say this is white supremacy. So are you saying that the people that run this
Right.
are white, or are they just running under the guise of whiteness?
Well, they pick who is white.
Right. Okay. So white, you're talking
white
about.
White is a very fluid.
This is a classification that has
White
little to
is
do
a
with.
very fluid.
You're talking about as far as it's considered in law, right? Like how the Moors use the term.
Yes.
Okay. So we're talking about legal designation, just as how the Arab community in the 90s lobbied to be considered white when they came here, right? That's what you're talking about. Okay.
Yes.
So you're saying
just like how the Italians when they got here and the Irish when they got here wasn't white, but they realized that we need those numbers, and they were grafted in.
Okay.
Same thing, like I said, with Asians now. Asians are being grafted into whiteness. That's why you never hear Asian people, or you rarely hear it referred to as people of color. Colored people, as I call it. You're not going to flip that around to me. Just call me colored. I mean, that's what you mean.
Okay. So this is a system of white supremacy, but it doesn't have necessarily much to do with white people. You're talking about a white legal designation. Interesting concept. Now,
wasn't that the creation of it? I mean, that's when they created it, that was the purpose.
That's correct. That's correct.
If you have one, I think, great grandparent that's black, no, it's not pure enough.
That is true. It does begin. I want to say probably maybe 1867 when they incorporated the United States.
I think that's when. I think that's when it happened.
Yeah. So, now the new thing is radical white extremism, radical white supremacists, radical white terrorists. Why is the Great White Brotherhood pushing this idea of white radical extremists and terrorists rising up in America?
Well, at the crux of it is really a gender war.
A gender war.
Now let me explain. Yes, they want to get rid of the fathers. Get rid of the fathers, then you get the same thing they did with. I always say this on my show, and please listen, people, when I say this. It starts with us. Take the father out of the house, make the state the father, then you can train them up any way you want to train them up. It's the same thing now. Take the father out of the house or make him, subdue him with shame, with fear. Then we can raise the future up the way we want to. That's what it boils down to. Masculine. You think you wrote a book on it about masculinity.
The Unbreakable Rules of Masculinity.
Masculinity is under attack. Yes, and the most potent form of masculinity in this system is white masculinity, because it has the power of whiteness with it.
That's interesting. Okay, keep going.
So they said if they could take out white men, everybody else will fall in line. That's the whole. It's butt breaking. It's butt. Bruh. They're being butt broken. Let's bring the strongest out. You know how it goes. Let's bring the strongest out in front of all the women and the children.
Yeah.
Break him. Y'all see how that went? Now fall in line.
I think they broke a lot of people this week when they labeled those people at the Capitol terrorists.
Yes, they did.
A lot of people seem really broken, man. Damn, you hitting out the park with this one, Mo.
They were butt broken, and it's. I say it with jest because it's just another day for us.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yep, that's how it goes.
As a black man in America, you basically saying like, oh yeah, we've been dealing with this.
Yeah, from Jack Johnson on. I mean, you thinking too freely there, Jack Johnson. It's create white slavery in the Mann Act. I think it was called. Transporting white women across state lines. Get them up out of here. And that's. And I thought it was the people's house. I mean, I don't get, I watch politics just for the social side of it, aspects of it, but I don't get really deep into the nuts and bolts of politics, except for the act of voting, because I think that's the only thing that really matters, how people are manipulated to use their vote. But after that, it's like once whoever you send there, they're going to do business how they see fit.
Right.
So that's how real power is voting, but
the CKJ3 $49.99 super chat. I gotta do a dance when they come in like that. Woo! When you are filled with self-hate, your mind is reversed, meaning you will love the things that destroy you, and you will hate the things that advance your growth. Real talk. That's a quote by Dr. Amos Wilson. Tommy Riley, thank you. He said Trump, the Manchurian candidate, to prove to the CIA they can manipulate the populace for votes. Got to remember the CIA was founded by former... Woo! Uh-oh. Watch out now. I'm trying to keep my channel. Moe Factz. I need you to explain something else to me.
What's that?
There's a heavy military presence at the Capitol now as we approach an inauguration of Joe Biden. I think they said 20,000 troops, maybe 30,000. I don't know what it is. I want to know why. Why?
I think I heard 20 or 30, yeah.
Why is there such a heavy military presence? Now, before you answer that, I just want to say something. I don't think anybody was going to show up in the first place for some insurrection, right? I don't think nobody was going to organize again during the thing. I think everybody was broken, like you said, buck broken. I think everybody's like, all right, fuck it, y'all won. We'll catch y'all maybe in the next 4 years. So why is there a huge military presence at the Capitol?
Because if you want to paint the narrative of there was no second, uprising because we acted strongly. That's how you do this. You have to display. It's like the vaccine right now. It's like the vaccine is going to be used. I don't want to
the what?
Pivot
the vagine? You said vagine. The vagine.
The vaccine.
You said vagine. You said vagine.
The vaccine.
No. You said the vagine.
Yeah, vagine.
Oh, okay. I thought you said vagine.
Yes, I'm sorry about that. Yeah. Excuse me. I'm used to speaking freely.
You said it's the same thing as the vagine.
I don't break bread with the tube, so yeah, the vagine. So it's the same thing as that. In the case of, everything is better now because we took this action. Like now, everything's opening up. Right, and it's gonna be, yeah. We are Chicago opening up, New York opening up. It's due to that the miracle that we were blessed with.
Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying.
So it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's like nothing happened because we acted strongly. And what makes people more fearful than, oh my God, the Capitol's an attack and they had to bring in 30,000 troops. Right? It writes itself.
Yeah. I think it also lends to painting what happened on the 6th as some big problem, right? And it makes people, you know, the so-called white supremacist national uprising look like more of a threat. It's still theater. No?
Mm-hmm.
You don't think so?
Yes. I mean, well, this whole system operates out of fear.
Bars. This is true.
See. I know we said we are going to talk about a lot of stuff. I want to talk about something else.
Okay.
Because I've foreshadowed to it before, and this is our people. We got to talk about our people for a minute.
Let's talk about our people.
Either we're for police or we're not for police, and now we're working with the police. And what? Which side is it? It's like you want to defund the police, but the police is mostly chasing black men down to collect child support checks. Can we keep it 100 here? So if you really cared about black men, you would take black men off child support so they wouldn't have to interact with the police.
Uh-oh. Here we go. Mo try to get me canceled tonight.
No, I'm not trying to get and please stop me but what I'm saying is, when you look at the bigger picture, this is what everybody's self-serving. Everybody is self-serving. It's like last week, this was okay, but now this week it's not.
Yeah. If it's fuck the police, it's got to always be fuck the police. There's
right. Now, the reason why I brought it up, you said about fear.
Yeah.
Black men move out of fear. But what fear is that from? If she calls the cops on me because I ain't paid child support in a couple of months, I'm going down.
Yeah.
And that's leverage.
Yeah.
So this leverage and fear is seen in our community in a very clear way. And as I always say, if it starts with us, it don't end with us.
Yeah, exactly.
So now you got some kids saying, Dad, don't make me call and say you're some white kid. Dad, don't make me call and say you're some this.
Like that girl who snitched like that girl that snitched on her family at the Capitol.
Yeah. Fear.
Well, let's talk about
trauma-based mind, trauma-based entertainment. It's trauma-based fear.
Now we're gonna come back to the black community in a second, but what about the flip-flop from the conservatives? Okay. You know, they went from back to blue to fuck the police. Why are they just now having this epiphany? Shouldn't they been fuck the blue from the beginning? Or are they just not educated on how the system works?
No, they know how it works.
Okay. Was it just because the police was kicking the black man's ass so they didn't care? It's kind of like how black folks are championing the police because they're kicking the white man's ass. When the police was kicking the black man's ass, these patriots didn't care. Is that what's happening here, or is there something else?
And what we need to do is this. I'm gonna say this. First of all, I got to keep the same energy.
Okay.
I can't let the minority represent
the whole
group.
Correct.
So we all got to do some house cleaning.
Yes.
Black, white, and the blue.
Yes.
We got to get these bad elements out. The same. I keep the same energy.
All right.
The same way you was telling on the 6th. You see police not acting right, I need you to tell the same way. Because whether it's true or not, it's what you believe. And one of the things I talk about a lot is the mind trap and victimization mentality. Now, victimization mentality is far more harmful than the actual reality, but it's still a reality to some people.
Mm-hmm.
And those stories lend to post-traumatic stress, anxiety, these things.
Yeah.
So I want everybody on each side, dig deep. Think about how you feel if you get associated with a group
Mm-hmm.
because you wear a certain hat or you vote a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
Now, be empathetic to the people on the other side of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know how we're
There's
gonna get
no
there.
difference between Babbitt and George Floyd. Huh? How do we get there?
No, I don't want. All right, well, go ahead. Go ahead.
How do we get there?
Yeah, how do we get there? How do we get to the place of union?
Self-awareness. Self-awareness.
And in today's age, you expect people to have self-awareness? How do you get people to have self-awareness? That's the big part. That's the big thing. People to become conscious.
Hold the mirror up to them.
Okay.
Hold the mirror up to them. And I'm not gonna say it's gonna be perfect,
right?
Because I mean, we led the conversation off with pork, right?
Yeah.
And me and you both know about pork and all the unhealthy things about it. And when somebody holds that mirror up to you, like, it has stuff in there that doesn't die with heat or freezing and whatever else they, tell you.
Yeah.
Now, you still enjoy your pepperoni pizza, and I still enjoy a slice of my Easter ham once a year.
Mm-hmm.
But the self-awareness keeps me from eating it the other 364 days out the year.
Right.
So it's the truth. That's the self-awareness. To say, okay, are you a hypocrite? Are you not a hypocrite? And that's what I do mostly on my show, is point out hypocrisy. I don't tell people what to think. I don't even really tell people how to think, but I'm just saying, if you think it, keep it the same way. Call the game fair. If you're going to call it tight, call it tight.
But the hate is so strong amongst the black community. I saw Jeff Charles. He was on Fox Soul the other day arguing with Roland Martin and some other black liberals. And they were rolling clips from the 60s, trying to make that comparison and say, oh, if we were at the Capitol, this is what would have happened. And they rolling clips from the 60s and the 50s. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So our people have these images in their mind. When they think of white people, that's what they see. They don't see anything other than a reason to hate. How do you change that? Or get them to say, look, the white allies you're standing next to, like Malcolm X said, aren't really your allies. But you might have some potential allies on the other side of the partisan pond. How do we get them to see that? That's the problem.
You gotta hold that mirror up to them. You gotta hold that mirror up to them and say, look at George Floyd. Look, I think our last name was Babbitt. Now, if you see these two things differently,
now, I gotta cut you off there.
You're the problem.
I gotta cut you off there.
What's that?
Let me pull up my tweet, because I tried, right? I didn't try. Let me just say, I was expressing myself, right? And how I felt people should respond to that situation. And I said on January 7th, I said, show your humanity when lives are lost. That goes for Breonna Taylor, and that goes for Ashley Babbitt. Humanity is how we heal. And bro, when I tell you the black community was furious, they were furious. I shouldn't say black community, I should say black Twitter, elements of black Twitter. Again, we don't want to label everybody under the same thing. The majority of the vitriol came from black accounts.
The loud majority. The loud minority, the loud minority. Let's call them what they are.
Right. The loud
They're
minority.
the loudest.
Yes. So I was, I thought I was
everyday people had to step up and say,
so I made that comment. Is there anything wrong with that tweet?
maybe the timing of it.
Okay.
I had to keep the same energy, and you saying me and you cool.
This was January 7th, 1:58 p.m., the day after we found out Ashley Babbitt was killed. This is when the white community just found out Ashley Babbitt was killed. Was that not the right time?
Mm-hmm.
That's not the right time? Because you said, just like George Floyd.
It's not the best time. I'm not let me. Yeah, it's not the best time.
When is the best time?
And I get on Candace Owens about this. I get on Candace Owens about this. So, I mean, because she's a bright young lady. Mm-hmm. Bright. But her timing is off.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes you don't have the conversation. It's like coming home from daddy's funeral. We want to talk about the will. It's like, this ain't the time to have this conversation.
Yeah.
People's emotions are high, emotionally drained.
Yeah.
There's some valid points that we need to discuss.
Mm-hmm.
Let's table that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where I keep going back to this word empathy.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I do, Hotep, if you haven't noticed, I take these talking points that these social justice warriors like to use and actually put them to work. Like we use doing the work.
Yeah.
Doing the work, they want to say, oh, this is doing the work. But no, doing the work is actually getting to meet people that don't think like you and don't look like you.
Yeah.
And getting to know them.
Right.
So this year I'm taking empathy.
Okay. Yeah. Absolutely.
Empathy and sympathy are two different things.
Yeah.
Empathy is because you go through something, you've been through something, you can identify what a person's going through.
Right.
So this whole situation gives both sides a chance for empathy.
Okay.
A clear chance for empathy.
Yes. But they was celebrating her death. They was stepping on her body.
Nobody's trying to hear about fentanyl and George Floyd. Yeah, I'm gonna say it like this. Nobody was trying to hear about George Floyd and fentanyl the day after it happened. You know what I'm saying? That's not the conversation we're trying to have.
Well, we're talking about the black community, right?
Yeah.
Now, the black community, Breonna Taylor's way back last year. The problem they had was the juxtaposition of Breonna Taylor to Ashley Babbitt. They said, how dare you invoke Breonna Taylor's name to this white terrorist, Ashley Babbitt?
And I'm very careful how I use that T word.
This is the word they used.
Very careful.
This is the word they used. They used it several times.
I'm not saying. Yeah, I'm not saying that to you. I'm saying that to people who's using it.
Yeah.
Be careful how you throw that word around.
Right.
Because once you label it as one of those, there's a whole different law book.
Word.
You got the citizen law book, and then you got the T-word law book.
Yeah.
And the T-word law book is like, oh yeah, ain't no Miranda rights. Ain't no letting people know where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I went out to go check the mail, and I ain't seen me in 6 weeks. So we got to be careful how we throw that T-word around, because that's a whole different law book.
That's what threw me left. I'm like, yo, y'all labeled her a T-word, and I'm like, really? Like, wow. Like, the people at the Capitol, even the ones that participated in entering the building, they were using the T-word, and I'm just like, really? Like, yeah, that's what y'all gonna label them? So then it becomes, well, then who really is a terrorist?
Well, let's do the math on that. Let's do the math on that. So if we call the people at the Capitol terrorists, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then they say, well, if they'll accept it, if we are this, then the people this summer were terrorists and Chaz and Chop.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, from 2016 on.
And Daddy like, yes. Yeah, Daddy's like, yes, I can go for that.
Right.
All of y'all. I'll put T's on all of y'all.
Right. Yeah. That's really wild to me. And they said it like repeatedly. They were like, how dare you compare her to the T word? How do you to this T word? How do you compare her to the T word? I'm like, dang, y'all all throwing this term out there. Meanwhile, I just felt for people who, I was trying to make a statement to the conservatives and say, like, look, like, y'all need to Have some compassion for Breonna Taylor. And, you know, when they bring up Breonna Taylor, like, oh, her boyfriend was a criminal and she was a drug dealer and all this other shit. And I'm just like, again, like, who are y'all siding with? Fellow Americans or the state? You know what I'm saying? Because right now it seems like you're defending the state when you yourself, as Americans, always say innocent and proven until guilty. Everybody deserves just due process. And you say all that till a nigga got black skin.
And now it's to a person got a red hat.
And now it's their turn. Like I said, conservatives is the new Negroes. You agree with that statement or not?
Well, I say it a little different. I say MAGA's the new NAGA.
It is, right?
Let's just keep it 100. That's the way it is. Guilty by association. That is so dangerous.
It is.
That is so dangerous.
It really is, man.
And people don't even realize it because it's like, oh, I finally get to call the other side. Yeah.
Right.
And that's the point of polarization.
Yeah.
And if you're a watcher of Game of Thrones, are you a watcher of Game of Thrones?
No, I'm not.
Are you a watcher of Game of Thrones?
No, I never saw it.
Okay. So the concept is you had this thing called the Iron Bank.
Okay.
And the Iron Bank was completely peaceful. And all they did was loan money to the other families to have wars with each other.
Okay.
The Iron Bank's happy right now. Cause like, yep, they're busy with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And we about to come in here and run it up.
Exactly.
Nobody's looking at us. And then guess what? Either each side got to pay Iron Bank back. And guess what? The Iron Bank, when you defeat a person that's a debtor to the Iron Bank, you inherit their debt.
Right.
So it's a win-win.
I'm looking for, I'm gonna find this in a second. Let me read this super chat and then I'm gonna read this message from somebody, a celebrity. Big Bang Hank, thank you. He said, you know how I know BLM is a front? They talk about equity and defunding police, but not ending war on drugs. Can't have equity without fathers. Facts. Well, war on drugs, I don't exactly, let's talk about this, Mo. Real fast, let me read this other one. Cassius Cam, he said, love Moe Factz and Adam Curry. Thanks for the fire content. As always, HJ, is Kamala Harris just Hillary Clinton in blackface? That's funny. So when they say war on drugs, do you agree with the war on drugs? I don't.
So clarify what you mean. Do you agree with the war on drugs?
Well, in the context where he's saying it.
Do I agree it exists?
No, what I'm saying, do you agree that there should be a war on drugs? To me,
yes. Okay,
explain.
Let me clarify what I mean when I say yes. Who should fight it is the people in the neighborhoods.
Okay.
Shouldn't be fought. So I use television. I use a lot of references to television and TV shows because they resonate with people. And one of the clips I played from my show was from the show Rock back in the 1990s.
I remember.
With Charles S. Dutton.
Yes.
That's how you have the war on drugs. Andre, you got to get up off my block.
Yeah.
And you keep pushing them, and you keep pushing them, and you keep pushing them. And use that same energy. Like I said, the same energy. That was so-and-so from this bank, and that was so-and-so from this. The same way you was taking pictures and using it on social media, clean up your neighborhoods the same way.
Right.
That's how you fight the war on drugs. Because drugs, I'm not really against drugs because people are going to do what they want to do. The problem I have with drugs is, one, the potency of it. You know, coca leaf is definitely different from cocaine powder, cocaine.
Yeah.
Opium plant is totally different from fentanyl.
Yeah.
Even marijuana now, you see that. What people smoked in the 1990s is totally different from wax and dabs and the potency. So it's the potency I have a problem with.
Right.
Wine is totally different from distilled alcohol such as Everclear and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you address the potency, that's one thing. If you make it legal, I think that takes the cool away from it. We've seen things of that nature in different European countries when they legalized it. Kids were like, nah, well, it's not rebellious. So they're not into it.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing we call drugs was really a form of genocide in our community. I mean, I'm not going to just let it off as drugs,
right?
Crack, crack.
No,
that was genocide.
Mm-hmm.
In the 70s, we saw the same thing with heroin.
Mm-hmm.
In the 2000s, we saw the same thing with the opium epidemic. And this is the thing, go back to empathy. And I know I'm harping on this, but when we see our aunties and uncles strung out on crack, you feel a certain way for them.
Mm-hmm.
But when you see a white family in West Virginia or Middle America or the Ozarks, it's like, you have no empathy for them.
Okay.
And that bomb was dropped on them the same way. It's like, oh, we got a surplus of opium. Where are we going to ship it? Ship it to Middle America. And the only reason people say this, and this is a fallacy that people say, well, the only reason that they didn't lock them up because they're white. No, the only reason they locked them up is because their dealers were white. In white coats and stethoscopes. That's the only reason they were treated different. That was the only reason they were treated differently.
Well, that's my take on this so-called war on drugs, right? Like, first of all, the state should not be the one carrying it out, But when I think of the state carrying out a war on drugs, to me, it just means monopoly on drugs. You can't sell them, but I can. And if you do sell them, I'm going to send my thugs to kidnap you, right? That's what the state does. The state is authorized only a particular set of dealers in white lab coats to sell drugs at high prices, and they are protected by the state. So it's a monopoly on drugs. Whenever I see this war on drugs by the state, I just think, oh, you just guys want a monopoly on drugs. So I agree with what you said. If we want to clean up our communities, we got to do it ourselves. The Haitian $10 super chat. He said,
do you think?
Go ahead.
No, finish your super chat. I'm sorry, but do you think that was the monopoly on the drugs, or it was a strategic way to remove men from a up and coming and competitive demographic?
You see, the way
I look at it totally different. I don't think it's about the drugs. I think it was the outcome of the drugs.
The way the cathedral works is when they push the button, it's like an octopus. It affects you in many different ways. It's not they don't do one thing for one purpose. They do one thing to affect 100 different things. So you would be correct and say it affects the black community. It affects black men, right? You would be correct, but they don't do things for one reason.
What? Let me give you something to chew on.
Okay.
Everybody talks about the Flint water, right?
Yeah.
And the lead in the water, and that. But why was there lead in the water they were drinking in the first place? Because they were selling the clean water off.
Right.
Everybody wants to talk about the lead in the water. I'm asking, how did we get here, and where did the water you used to drink go?
Right.
And they were selling rights to that water away. So that's what I'm saying is, it's not look at the drugs that made it to the communities. What was the end goal, and what was the reason for it being there in the first place? And I honestly think it was to destroy our people. It wasn't that, we have a surplus of cocaine and we just need to sell it somewhere. No. And I agree with you that it can be multifaceted. I agree with you on that. But I think the end goal was, because I look at that before that, you had the Vietnam War, which was to destroy our communities. And before that, you had, the opium, the heroin epidemic. It's like everything Like, let's give them another one. Let's give them another one to destroy our community. Now, could that be paranoid? Maybe.
Yeah. I wouldn't argue. I wouldn't argue with that at all. I just feel as though, for example, sometimes I troll on the internet and somebody will say, Hotep Jesus, you're just trying to trigger people. And you're right. But that's not the only thing I'm doing, right? Or sometimes I'm not even trolling.
Right.
A lot of the times I'm not trolling. People just think it's trolling. Really, the big goal is I want to just make people think and question things, right? That's the big goal. And the red pill, and to, start to provoke thought. But people think I'm doing it to just trigger. And it's like, no, I don't do things for one reason. I do them for multiple reasons. So if I'm doing it at the micro level, imagine how a committee of oligarchs thinks. Hey, if we do this, what are the 100 different ways the entire world will be affected by this one decision? Yes, the black community will be destroyed, but it's very minor thinking, especially when you say that this is a group of globalists. They're thinking a lot bigger than that.
And this goes back to our old conversation. I think the world goes the way of, let me say this. Black people have a very influential position in this world.
Sure.
Specifically American black people.
Sure.
And you see this with hip hop. Whatever they can pump through us and get us the champion, then it goes global.
Okay.
We had the conversation about Nike. Phil Knight was making Nike long before Michael Jordan came along, but Michael Jordan made Nike what it was.
Correct.
So that's why my point I'm getting to is that if they can get us to co-sign anything, as well as calling people the T word, it'll go global. It'll pop. Look how fast our slang makes it into the vernacular.
Well, is that what they're doing with Stacey Abrams and Kamala Harris and Maxine Waters, Jamel Hill?
Yes.
Seems like it seems like they use a lot of our, especially black female public figures, to push a particular agenda. That's what I see. Is that correct?
But not even female, because you remember Obama was pulling 2 million people in Berlin before he was even elected.
He was pulling what? You said
2 million people in Berlin.
Okay. Oh, he's a very popular figure.
Up.
Oh yeah, he was he was a very popular figure. Obama was like a superstar. Yeah, absolutely.
Globally.
Yeah.
And I always ask this thing, this is not a slight against anybody that's not ADOS. But where's your ADOS? Where's your non-ADOS Michael Jackson? Where's your non-ADOS Beyonce? Where's your non-ADOS Michael Jordan? Where's your non-ADOS Obama? It's only I think they said 30 million black people here in America. It's 1 billion on the continent of Africa.
Can I push back on that?
The world has a fascination with us for some reason. I don't know what it is.
Can I push back on that though?
But please.
Are we not beneficiaries of the American broadcast system? The media makes these people. The media is what makes Beyonce, makes LeBron James. Yeah, sure, he's great on the basketball court, but I'm sure it's a nigga in Africa right now that'll make LeBron James look stupid. It's a nigga in Newark right now.
And if it was, if it was, he would be in the NBA right now. They got NBA Africa. Embiid's here. Embiid is here.
Yeah. See? There's an African.
They went and found Ben Simmons all the way in Australia. I'm not trying to. I'm just saying.
Them now.
the world has a fascination with us, and I don't know what it is, but it's something about Black people of this hemisphere. And I'm not even saying it's just strictly America, because you got your Bob
I'm going to
Marleys
tell you
of the
what it
world.
is.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to tell you what it is. Are
Please
you ready?
enlighten me. Yes.
America is the Las Vegas of the world. No matter who you are, you come to America to be discovered, to grow, to flourish, this so-called capitalist system. No, there's no bigger media machine on the planet than the one in America. Not only that, quality of life is much different in America, which means you have more time for leisure, more time to sit down and rap bars and play basketball. It's your survival isn't dependent on what time you go down to the pond to go collect water. Right?
Right.
In some of these, when we look at, let's look at the last World Cup. Last World Cup was won by France. I used to make a joke and I said Africa won the World Cup because 7 of their starting lineup, 11 men played the field, 10 field players. 7 of those 10 field players, which would be 70%, were Africans, right? African, but these are children who were raised in Europe. When you look at Europe, as far as sports is concerned, and then you go look at Africa, Africans do not have access to the same facilities. In Europe, they got the field is just right, the goals are there, there's lights on at night, you know, so they can really cultivate the sports environment. Whereas when you go to, you know, some of these third world countries, they're playing on dirt fields. They don't even got no soccer boots. They're playing with a ball they made. So they can't even be cultivated. Whereas in America, we could just go on Amazon and order a basketball. We could go to Dick's Sporting Goods and steal a basketball if we ain't got the money. The quality of life is much different in America, which is why it seems that blacks in America have an advantage over the diaspora, over the rest of the diaspora in Africa.
No, I'm not talking about skill level. That's not what I'm talking about.
I didn't mention skill.
I'm talking about the global fascination. No, because
the global fascination
let me
is
make a hypothetical.
Okay.
Let me make a hypothetical. If it was 7 Black American men that carried America to the World Cup, soccer would be the #1 sport in the world.
Yes.
I believe.
Yes. Why?
I don't know.
I just told you it's because because America dominates media. The media.
But why do they care what we think so much? Why do they care what we think so much?
They don't care what we think. They just care to use us for their benefit.
Okay, let me give you an example.
If
Drake,
they cared what we
Canadian.
thought, Black Lives Matter wouldn't be at the...
No, he has to act like he's from... I understand that, but Drake, he's from Canada, but he has to act like he's from Houston and Memphis to hold a certain weight to the world. Which he's a global artist. Make sense.
No. He has to act that way to get accepted by the Black community. You see, artists don't pop until the streets.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
The streets gotta certify you.
That's my point.
But that's because
exactly
hip hop is our culture.
Whatever we anoint.
That's because hip hop is our culture.
Bro, we embraced the Popeye's chicken sandwich in the world went crazy.
Fried chicken is our culture, though. Fried chicken, you think fried chicken, you think of niggas.
No, but
that's a huge stereotype.
Fried chicken's on every
because ain't nobody ever made fried chicken like Big Mama. Chicken and waffles. Colonel Sanders ain't never he never made fried chicken better than Big Mama.
I'm trolling now. I'm trolling. Right, which we need to. I'm gonna be honest with you. We need to cancel Colonel Sanders because he's looking like a slave master. But that's on another note. I mean, if you want to talk canceling people, if you get Aunt Jemima up here, we got to get Colonel. What army did he fight in?
Right. Let me read the super
It definitely
chat.
wasn't the North.
Let me read the super chat. The Haitian and Drake be fronting. Drake would just want to be accepted by black people. That's why he do that shit. The Haitian said $10 super chat. He said, shout out to Moe for picking up that Game of Thrones, remembering that the black guy that was doing all the trading on credit because he had a big vault, and when they opened it, it's empty. Yeah, that's about when people go do the bank runs. Hotep Saxes, $50 super chat. I gotta do another dance. He said, enjoying the conversation. Hotep and Bill. Battery Blaze $1 super chat. Thank you. Nora's son, $5 super chat. He said non-ADOS, Drake and Obama. All right, let's switch gears real quick, unless you want to argue some more.
No, we ain't arguing, but they have to. It's something about this world, and this is the final point I want to make. If Obama would have came in, not up through Black America, and got himself all coated in our swag, he wouldn't be Obama. And the world, like I said, the world resonates with us.
Why?
Resonates with, I don't know, because maybe people love the underdog.
No, because white people want to know you're accepted by your people before they co-sign you. White people make jokes all the time like, yo, black people don't even respect him. Black people call him a white black man. You got to be respected by your people before the white man say we can use you. How he going to use you and you're not respected by your people? You don't talk like your people. You don't act like your people. We can't use you until we can get your people to follow along behind you.
I fully understand what you're saying, but why does the world care what this little 13%
I just told
of America?
It's the media power. They've mastered it. They got the algorithms. It run around the clock. When we talk, there's a book you got to read, How to Watch TV News by Neil Postman. I just suggest everybody go watch that book. Go read that book. But when we talk about mastering the art of news broadcasting, nobody does it better in the United States. The hyperbole, the language. If you ever notice that whenever you have a woman in the news, she always has blonde hair. There's a certain look they go for. There's a certain voice. Like they got it down to a point where your voice has to be regional neutral. I forget what they call it, but there's a certain way you have to speak so that somebody can't say that person is from up north or that person is from down south, so you can relate to the entire nation. Unless you're doing some local marketing like in Texas and you just want to talk to Texans, then you can have your little Texas accent, right? But when you're talking about national broadcasting news, they've mastered this thing. And they use the black body as the puppet to bring about their agenda, as we saw with Black Lives Matter. Because there's such a great history, that victim history. Or the white man had his foot up your ass for 400 years.
That's what I was alluding to with the underdog.
Right.
Maybe the world resonates with that.
Maybe.
We could go all night about this, but I want to say one more thing though. But why is it that the Viet Cong, black man go home, the German Nazi, black man go home? Bro, they don't want every time we get involved, it's like, hey, and that's what they said. This is the Democrats now, and it's probably a good segue. Now, probably not a good segue since I pointed out. But look at now. Mammy, come save us. Oh, it was the mammies. It was the mammies that saved us.
Right. That's what I was saying with Kamala and Stacey Abrams and all of them.
Yeah.
What's up with that? Why are they using black women?
Not only why are they using black women, but why are they what's the word I'm looking for? Why are they just so
in love with them?
Kissing ass.
Yeah.
Like I saw one white lady, she had her kids bowing on their hands and knees.
Yo,
If you can find that video, man, it's crazy. It's like a TikTok video. And she's like, we worship black women or something. They got the white kids going up and down. Like, I'm like, what in the?
Yeah. I do a Saturday class.
I
do a Saturday class every Saturday, where I help entrepreneurs grow their business. It's called the Mogul Summit. And today we were talking about branding. So I went to go pull up one of the brands that I thought was really popular amongst women, and it was Emily's List. And I went to their Instagram account to show the class, how people brand really well. It was Kamala Harris and Stacey Abrams and Kamala Harris and Stacey Abrams and Kamala. And that's just all white women run this thing. And all white women are glued into this Emily's List thing. But it was Stacey Abrams and Kamala Harris all the way down. I'm like, damn, they really kissed the black woman's ass. So, which leads me to believe it goes back to the point you made, the gender war. How do you demasculate the black man? Put the black woman above him.
Can we go there? Are we going there?
Let's go there.
If it's ever a case study for a man being emasculated, it's the American black man. And they look and say, oh, y'all did that so wonderfully. Teach me. Teach me how you did that. And really, black women should say, go talk to your husband. Because he showed us and empowered us. It ain't nothing they did on their own. It's nothing they did on, and I'm not taking anything away from any of those women, but it's nothing they did on their own. They were propped up to be, bruh. We had to fight a war before we even get out the house. We tired by the time we get to work. And when I'm talking about collective we.
Okay. Male and women. Male and female.
Men.
Black
men are so tired.
Black men.
I'm speaking for my black men specifically right now.
Okay.
But
tired from what?
We're so tired wrestling for the pants.
In the relationship with the woman. The black woman.
Yes.
So you believe that black men have to wrestle with the black woman for the pants in a relationship?
Yes, they do.
Why?
For the majority.
Why?
It's a lot of good sisters out there. But for the majority, because that's how it works. It's
you know what I think, Mo?
Empower her. Yeah.
I think the black man has been buck broken and has little masculinity left and not enough masculinity to handle the black woman.
Then why is the commercial masculinity? Now we talked about actual masculinity. The commercial masculinity is painted as the black man.
What do you mean commercial masculinity?
Sexually.
Oh,
virile.
Okay. Yeah.
How they sell,
Yeah. All the negative that comes along with masculinity.
Yeah, all the negatives. But I'm just saying, commercially, it's the black man, but actually it's the white man.
Right.
Is the epitome of masculinity.
Correct.
In this country. Because there's certain freedoms. To be a man, you gotta have certain freedoms. Yeah. So we never reached that status of free, but we're just talking about certain
doesn't it
characteristics?
Doesn't it
like to paint?
Doesn't it play a role that black women are some of the most educated people, getting rising in educating class as far as going to college and getting degrees, therefore earning more than black men, and black men are having to compete with black women for jobs. So if you date a woman who makes more than you, you might feel a bit insecure. Therefore, you're not even qualified to wear the pants because you feel insecure.
So let's go here.
Okay.
First of all, they've used mass media to make black women scared of black men. Color Purple. What's Love Got to Do with It? Tyler Perry movies.
Mm.
Wait and exhale. I'm going
Mhm.
through my memory now.
Yeah.
He used all this make the fear the black man.
Right.
Now, Mr. had all this power, but he ain't back in 1920s. How that work? Tell me how that worked. That's your oppressor, Mr. Now, when they not so filled upside her head with that pistol, you know what I'm saying? Now she understand, like, okay, I've been fighting all my life to you. You're saying then you love the people, you know, that took you as hostage, beat you in front of your children, trained you to be submissive. But and her character loved the people that taught her that. But then she comes back and wants to fight with Harpo.
Yeah. She was real tough with Harpo.
And these women watch this stuff people watch this stuff on loop. As a 6-7-year-old child, I knew Color Purple by heart.
Yeah. I used to watch that as a kid.
So you create this image of this big, bad, black boogeyman. The boogeyman's black man.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, let's get him out the house. Now I'm going to say this. Black men did have their issues. Alcoholism, womanizing. But the black men of today aren't those black men then.
Mm-hmm.
But they still carry these tropes and means on. And that's why Tyler Perry is a black billionaire right now. Because he's continued this legacy of trauma-based entertainment. I can say one line that was a meme on Twitter. Ashtray B. Everybody know what that stands for. This domineering black man. Go look at BET. The Oval. Sisters. They got one where the black man is a cult leader. So you see these images, and then so the black woman says, okay, the only way I can do this is if I get educated, you know, and I had to raise my children on my own. But there's two things that happen that change, maybe even for the better, even they weren't good events, that changed how black men had to carry themselves as a whole in this country. One was the invention of DNA. So there was no more deadbeat daddies. Mm-hmm. If you have a deadbeat daddy now, it's by your own choice.
Yeah.
The government tells you that. He ain't paying, call us.
Yeah.
We'll send our boys in blue out there to get him straight.
Yeah.
But we wanted to defund the police. And then we had the O.J. Simpson trial.
Yeah.
Which that instituted the 48 hours. You remember when these memes came through our community? Mm-hmm. You get locked up on the Saturday, you got to spend 48 hours in jail for domestic violence. You know, and it might be 72, and don't get locked up on the weekend like this weekend. Yeah. You might not get out the Wednesday. These are things that hit. So that made black men as a whole change our behavior. We had to become active. The ones that weren't active, because it was a lot of good men. I had a great father. The black in my family are great men. But as a whole, it says, okay, we got to step up. We got to be dads. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, the domestic violence thing. It's like, well, but like I said, we solved these problems internally. So there was no need for that, because if a woman came out, started her house, that her husband was beating her, the men came over and straightened it out.
Right.
I'm speaking from my own experiences.
Yeah.
But these things change how black men carry themselves. And now what you're seeing now is black men were empowered by Donald J. Trump.
Uh-oh.
He did explain to our masculinity.
What he do?
He said it was okay to be a man. I'm not saying this. Kanye West said this. I'm not saying this. Karen Hunter said this. She said it's something about him that resonates with masculine men.
Okay. Indeed. I would agree.
So now this is when you see certain communities on YouTube crop up for black men and black men advocacy and black men leadership.
Yeah.
And saying, yo, you're worth more than what the world says you're worth. Uh-huh. And I liken it to the Planet of the Apes movie when Caesar was like, no.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like we didn't have a voice before, but we're saying no.
Well, let me ask you this.
You're not going to do this anymore.
Let me ask you this. Do you think the black woman wants to wear the pants?
Of course.
Really?
Until they get the full brunt of what the pants come. Until they get the full brunt of what comes with the pants.
Okay, all right.
Oh, there's some nice pants. Oh, there's some beautiful pants.
Yeah. Till you put some shits on.
Till you got to leave them on. They nice to fancy around in.
Yeah.
Once in a while. But when you got them, like, Hotep, just like I know. When you the man, everybody go to bed at night, sleep good.
Yeah.
You up, what's my next move?
Word.
What's my next play?
Yeah. Yeah.
Christmas is coming. You said the babies need this, the babies need that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They ain't built for that, and they're not meant to be built for that. And I'm not picking on them because no one person is meant to be a parent alone, man or woman.
Yeah.
So it's not I'm picking on them. This is a 2-person job. Really, it's a community job, but it boils down to 2 people.
Right.
And now they've been tricked by Gloria Steinem, 17 magazine. I forget the lady named Michelle something that wrote The Myth of a Black Superwoman. If I'm getting that title correctly. I'm doing all this off memory, so bear with me, folks.
Yeah.
But yeah. So they tell them, look, you want the pants, go to school, and there's further indoctrination. You get into these liberal universities, further indoctrination.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't need a man, you just need a baby.
Mm-hmm.
You have the baby, you have the career. Bro, I'm trying to tell you, my wife left me here one day and I was working and trying to do an at-home school at the same time. Yeah. Bro, I'm trying to tell you, it's impossible. And I'm not picking on one gender or the other.
Yeah.
It's not meant for one person to do this.
Right.
But you've been told in our communities, what? You're strong.
Right.
You're strong. And it's like, yeah, I'm strong. And it's like, but you crack at night.
Yeah.
When you're alone.
Yeah. Cry.
And you got to sit up like we got to sit up.
Yeah. Do black men have the luxury to cry?
And I'll say this. No. And this actually came up on my show. We had the luxury to cry, but not in public.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Is it wrong? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not saying it, but we don't have that luxury.
Yeah.
Because so much is weighed on our hardness and our toughness that when you cry, it's like, unless it's just like a parent died, something like that. But I'm just saying, like we saw with Van Jones and these other guys just crying on TV.
Yeah.
You know how that came across to us. Like, bruh.
Yeah.
You know what it said? You're crying like a little and filling the blank.
Yeah.
That's just the perception.
Crying like a little bitch.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think more men need to cry. I'm gonna say this, but we don't have the luxury to cry in public.
Yeah. Yeah, hell yeah. Fuck Google 2, $5 super chat said they don't care what you think. There will be another Jordan, then Kobe, then LeBron, then someone else. The owners are still the same though. Word. Take L's 499 says salute Mo. Sean M. The American black is the certified authentic package for spreading their narrative. Word. BLVKPOVO said, do you think the American narrative of slavery gave black Americans more soul and thus more success? I don't think so. Lex Play 859 said, they care what we think because we as people are the original inventors, warriors, laborers, and survivors. 100. Sunshine Hotep, HJ and Moe Factz keep pushing our people forward, whether they identify as Hotep or ADOS. Most definitely. Nora's son, $10 super chat, said, discuss how the white population has more deaths than births since 2017. The trend is scaring them. All right, so I got a quote here I want to get into. Can
I address one thing before you get into that?
Yeah.
Because it's something I want to mention to everybody.
Okay.
I'm seeing this quick sleight of hands. The ADOS is not, because I heard this from a very close family member, which they're not in the loop like I kind of am, right? So they catch, I feed off of them what they're hearing.
Okay.
So I can tell what the narrative is.
Right.
And he said to me, he's like, yeah, you know about ADOS. And I was shocked that he said it, like, oh, ADOS? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yeah, Africans, descendants of slaves.
Right.
They done switched the whole A up on us.
Because it was American, right?
Yeah.
Right. So how did he get,
when it reached him,
it switched to African?
You tell me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting.
Just to put a little bow on that. Just to put a little bow on the MAGA and the branding and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But continue. I'm sorry. I just wanted to put that out there for people.
We're going to make this the last topic. We're going to get out of here. Carrie Hilson goes to her Instagram account and she says, this may be funny, but it is a little dangerous too. Take Trump out of it for a moment. A democracy must include freedom of speech. Imagine other leaders or popular figures not being able to voice their opinion if it opposes the majority of world leaders. Our freedom of speech being taken from us. Slowly but surely censorship. If the leader of the free world can be removed, imagine that same right of civilians. Imagine believing every time you read false information detected and propaganda, deceptive reports, and flat out lies being told being the only thing we see. She's talking about the censorship of Trump being banned.
Yep.
You think Trump should have been banned? You think he deserved to be banned? Do you think that he incited violence is the better question? Do you think Trump incited violence? Or you know,
I'm about to keep it a buck. I'm about to keep it a buck and I'm about to piss some people off.
Okay.
That day he didn't, but knock him the hell out. I'll pay for you to get out of jail. Bruh, you built that up.
When did he say that?
4 or 5 years. Remember when he was campaigning the first time? At his rallies, he was telling people, knock him the hell out. Carry, you know what I'm saying? Carry him out of here. So you allowed yourself to be painted that way. That's why we got to be careful. As you know, when we get on this microphone, how we say things, how we how we carry ourselves, because some things are implied.
Now,
like I'm gonna break it down to the street. I'm gonna break it down to the street level right quick.
Okay.
Which, I did not frequent the streets, but I was close enough to it. When somebody say, "Yeah, we're gonna get some get back," wait till we see that.
Yeah.
Wait, we see that dude. And then we see the dude and he get clapped. It's like, no, why you shoot him? It's like, bruh, you said when we see him, it was on site.
Right.
But I didn't tell you to do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But your verbiage up to that point set the tone for these things to happen. And I'm not saying, like I said, but I'll say this. Should he be banned? No. No one should be banned from social media for their words unless they're screaming fire in a crowded, movie theater.
Right.
Or something to that effect.
Right.
Up to that level. Yeah. So I definitely don't think he should be banned. And I'm gonna ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Now, do you think we should have land or cyberspace now?
Should we have
Let's
land
go
or
back to our old
cyberspace?
conversation. Cyberspace. Remember we had that conversation about which one is more important?
Yeah.
Now you feel what I'm saying about cyberspace?
No.
Okay.
I'm still.
Yes,
I'm
you do.
still.
You ain't gonna be.
No,
I'm not saying. No, I'm not saying you changed your mind.
What did?
Do you see where I'm coming from?
What did I see where you're coming from? But what did Bill Gates just do? Isn't he the largest landowner? Mr. Tech himself.
True.
Why is he buying up all that land, Mo?
I'm not. Right.
You know why we need the land? I'm gonna tell you why we need the land.
Right. You need servers. You gotta put servers on.
Where you gonna control your cyberspace from? You gotta start with. You gotta start with like. You gotta start with step one when you want to build power.
But when I say cyberspace, I mean that I'm talking about all the way to the server. Because the reason why I brought that up is because it links to the conversation. Look at what's going on with what is it? Parler?
Yeah.
Even though they built their own platform, it's like, nope, not on our servers.
Right.
So
but that's capitalism.
Something similar.
That's capitalism. They don't have any obligation to host your dumb ass app. Host your own shit. You know why it's not capitalism? Because it was I'm gonna say if it was capitalism, then some capitalists would step up and say, you know what, that's good money to be made. That's why this is not capitalism. And that's why there's somebody else that can be host. That's how Gab ended up getting their domain hosted by another company. Another company's just gonna reap the benefits of that.
Yeah, I get that. I get that, but I'm just saying the fact that I just wanted to bring this up to show.
Mo, my thing is this.
If you don't build it from the ground up, and I agree with you, you gotta have the land. But if you don't build it from the ground up, and don't have that space, then people can dictate to you what you can say. And that's why I think it's vital that we have
two things.
Cyberspace.
Two things. Talk is cheap. I know people want freedom of speech, and I believe we should have freedom of speech. I 100% agree with that. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of motherfuckers that's doing a whole lot of talking, and they're not doing no building. This internet shit runs off of our attention. The minute people divest from the media dies. The minute people divest from these topics, these hot topics, these things die. The only thing keeping them propped up is people's attention. If we all logged the fuck off and went back to our farms, this whole system would come crumbling the fuck down. That land is always supreme. The cyberspace is a luxury. They know how to keep us in. Yeah, they know how to keep us here. They know how to
keep us engaged.
Right.
That's the trick, because you just said, even you said yourself, America is the biggest generator of media.
Yes.
And I would like to define that a little bit clearer. America is the biggest caster of spells.
Okay.
Bro, these are spells being casted across these airwaves.
Sure.
That control people thinking.
Yeah.
So you can't just poo-poo it as just, oh, that's just a headline, or oh, that's just a meme.
Right.
No, these things are set up and designed to mind control people.
Yeah. Yeah.
To one day, this is perfectly fine. To you do another day, it's like, oh, this is a capital offense.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of what's trending. And like I said, I didn't want to, I'm saying to just how that jacked the community. But I wanted to have the quick conversation with you about, now you understand. That was my point about like an idea like Parler. If we ever built something that was controversial enough or seen as problematic, they would do the same thing to us. They would pull it down ASAP.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, it's like, again, it's like, even with the black community, right? When we were dealing with all the issues of police brutality, and I'm like, y'all niggas ain't gonna do shit but tweet about this shit. I don't tweet about my problems. I handle them. I just solve them. I just go put the work in. I log the fuck off and I change my life. I change the things around me.
Well, you can't poo-poo. You can't poo-poo just tweeting about it, because people were just tweeting about the Capitol. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's
I
amplified
can
enough,
poo-poo it if that's the only thing you're doing. It's different if you were tweeting to build, right? Tweet to build. Don't tweet to complain. You sound like a bunch of bitches. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's some bitch shit to come online like that. You know, one thing I hate is motherfuckers, they be like, yo, the left can call for violence and nobody condemns them, but we can't. It's like, yeah, motherfucker, because you ain't got no power. Log the fuck off and go create some power.
Right. That's yeah.
But log the fuck off and go get you some power. You lost your country a long time ago, white man. Because you know why?
You log off and have power? Let's ask this question because I want you to breeze past this.
Yes, that's how I create
log
power.
Off and have power.
Yes, that's how you create power.
No, because I'm asking this question because I think this is.
Go ahead.
I think this is where people get defeated at, and this conversation has come full circle, like they always do.
Mm-hmm.
If you discourage people enough,
mm-hmm.
when they log off,
mm-hmm.
they feel powerless because they feel voiceless.
Right.
That's the point.
Here's my. Let me show you. Let me illustrate my point. Let me illustrate my point. You see this book right here? I can't write this book and tweet at the same time. I first have to log off, sit at my computer, and write for hours in order to write a book. And I've written 2, and I got a 3rd one on the way. You got to log off to do the work. Log the fuck off. Go put you in some work. Then you come back and say, look what I got, y'all. Look what I got, y'all. I got a Bitcoin exchange. I got AI. I got this. I got that. But you first got to log the fuck off. Motherfuckers is online tweeting and shit and not building shit. They complaining about shit.
When you say log off, I don't think logging off is going to be an option for too much longer because we're going to be so integrated with social platforms that your existence is only going to be able to be proven by being online.
You know, you taking me too literal.
There was a movie called The Net.
You're saying I'm not saying make a complete disconnect from the internet. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is turn your phone the fuck off and go build some shit.
I got you.
Then come back online. Sometimes people need to do a social detox. Don't come on Twitter for a week. Come back and look at this shit. The shit look completely different. Right.
No, I did that. But what I'm saying to you is when you're deplatformed, you don't have the option to log back on.
Why are you deplatformed?
That's the point.
Why are these people deplatformed, Mo?
Because we've become so centralized with AWS and other services, and it really boils down to laziness. Let's just be honest here.
That's not why.
Convenience.
That's laziness. Not why. That's not why people would deplatform, Mo.
What?
People will deplatform because they don't know how to play poker. Can you win in poker and when you show your hand? Can you win in poker when you show your hand? Motherfuckers is coming online trying to play poker against the machine showing their hand. Then wonder why they get deplatformed.
Well, they thought the machine was whether that's the biggest misconception they thought. They thought the platform was similar to your cell phone service. Now, me and you can get on a telephone, have a conversation, and they're not going to cut our phones off majority of the time.
Right.
But they assume that these platforms were utilities in the same manner.
Right.
And they're not.
No, it's not. You thought the shit was sweet.
Right.
Yeah, shit ain't sweet. I knew that. It ain't my fault these motherfuckers was dumb and thought shit was sweet.
No, but the question is, should they be utilities or not? That's the real question.
Okay.
Should they allow to silence you? Should they? Okay, that's like saying, okay, I know your books you're gonna print, so let's not sell Hotep no ink.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what? It's like you can't do that. You want to bet?
Yeah.
No, pick up the phone, blackball them from the ink. Yeah. Nobody sells them ink.
Yeah.
And you can have all the greatest ideas in the world.
Yeah.
But if ain't nobody gonna say ink and no paper.
Yeah.
And this is what these social media is ink and paper.
Mm-hmm.
These platforms are ink and paper. So that's, I mean, I think we're like, it's, yes.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. What I'm saying is, if people were conscious, they would understand that when you log on to Twitter, when you log on to Facebook, you are logging on to a leftist controlled platform. You are behind enemy lines. It's the same thing I told the black community. I said, you live in America, just like Khalid Muhammad told us. When you are in America, you are behind enemy lines. You need to operate like a POW when he's behind enemy lines. It's the same thing online now. If you online on one of these leftist controlled platforms, you're behind enemy lines. Act accordingly.
But should they be allowed? I know I'm not. I have no argument for what you're saying. I have no argument.
Okay,
because you're talking about the is
allowed. Who's going to stop them?
Should be. What do you mean? Who's going to stop them?
Who's going to? You said they should they be allowed? Who's going to disallow them?
Isn't this the point of antitrust laws?
So you're saying the state should interfere with businesses? You're telling the state you want these crooked politicians to put pen to paper. That's what you want them to do? The same people who just wrote up a bill and sent trillions of dollars overseas, you want them to put pen to paper?
Right.
I don't want the government to fix shit. That's the shit that don't make no sense to me. The government just showed you they on your side. Now you gonna go back to them and ask them to be on your side when they proven they not? They just put 20, 30,000 troops in the Capitol against your ass.
Right. That's the whole point.
And that's the politicians that control the House and
the vote.
So you want the House and the Senate, the Democrats that control the House and the Senate to put pen to paper in your favor? First of all, it's a pipe dream to think you're the... Let me clarify what I'm saying. If things work the way they should work, if the people want that to be changed, they will vote for the people to go and write the laws to change it. But this is why I said I'm more concerned about the vote that was stolen, because if you can pick the winners, all that other shit don't mean shit. Excuse my language. At the end of the day, when people get tired of something enough, they should say, if everybody voted and said, you know what, I think everybody would vote and say, I think Twitter and these other platforms should be carried differently. Because you have a channel just like I have a channel. And you know, even if you build it yourself, a website yourself, and this is my partner, my partner, Adam Curry, he's a big proponent of building for self. So I get it. But I always push back with him and say, YouTube is the mall eyeballs. Mm-hmm. Let me clarify what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. You can go and put a kiosk out in the middle of somewhere, and if you don't get the traffic, you're not going to sell anything. Right. You have to start in the mall with a kiosk, and that's what a YouTube channel is. And people walk past, they might not even be headed to your store, but like, oh, that's a nice product. Let me check that out. Yeah. Because I was headed here, but I saw this on the way there. Right. So we have to, it's easy to say, oh, just build it and they'll come. No, bro, this ain't Field of Dreams. It don't work like that. It's that you have to navigate, self-censor, pick and choose your words. Oh, I can't say that. Bro, I don't take no money from YouTube. Let me be clear. Everything I do is supported by the people. Everything, because I don't take money from YouTube. That gives me a little bit more leeway on what I can do in my content. But to say, well, just build your own, bro, how many people have tried to build competitors to this platform that we use? When you got the bag, it's kind of hard to beat. Mo, if you got a kiosk in the middle of the mall, you think you're allowed to sell MAGA hats? You better not sell no MAGA
after the
hats.
6, no. after the 6, no.
Everything is circumstantial, Mo. It's about time and place, Mo. Where you at? If you want to be, don't you know it's a spot on the internet where you can say whatever the fuck you want, called 4chan. You can say whatever the fuck you want.
But who's gonna hear it? Who's gonna hear it?
Do you go on poll? It's popping.
Bro, I don't even know how to get there.
All you gotta do is type in 4chan.
I think
type in 4chan.com and it takes you right to the. Look, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. This is what's wrong with motherfuckers. To go over there. But this is what I'm saying. What's wrong with motherfuckers? To go over there. Niggas talk about all this shit about free speech. It's free speech platforms, and niggas are scared to go there.
But hold on. Let's say this, for instance. Let's say if they tell you physically, take that message over to this neighborhood. We don't want to hear this over here.
I'm gonna take my ass over there.
That would be a problem.
No, it wouldn't.
No, what I'm saying is, but people would push back against that because it's like, whoa, you can't run them off this public square. You can't do that. But if it's done digitally, it's seen different. And that's the problem. It's like, bro, you know, with social credit scores and everything else is coming, if you don't exist online, and I go back to this movie again, The Net with Sandra Bullock, once they erase you, whatever cash you got in your pocket, that's it. It's over.
So what you gonna do then, Mo? When they erase your ass from the internet, what are you gonna do then?
What do you mean what I'm gonna do?
You better hope you got some land.
Live in your land. I guess I'll be sharecropping for you.
You see what I'm saying? That's why I say always come back to step one, bro. Where's your power at?
But what I'm saying is we shouldn't.
There's a lot of things I want to say on the internet.
To happen.
I self-censor.
Of course.
And you know what I've realized is?
What is that? But see.
Here's what I realized, Mo. The tweet I was gonna tweet wouldn't have changed shit in the world. It's just motherfuckers.
You can't think that way. I'm gonna tell you why you can't think that way.
It's just hold on. Let me finish.
Uh-huh.
That tweet that I censored wasn't gonna change shit. You know what's gonna change some shit? Well, motherfuckers see.
What's that?
I got 4 tech companies and I wrote 2 books. That's the shit that motherfuckers be like, how'd you do that? Or when I launch one of my I launch one of my shows. There's ways to inspire people and still be censored. It's called being smart. It's called being cryptic. Like earlier, you used the regular word, and I said no, vagine. My channel know what vagine is. You out there using their terms. I'm not using their terms. I'm using my terms. It's called crypto language.
Right.
This is where the future is going. Crypto language. What you're saying. So if you living in many communist,
why is that acceptable?
Well, what are you going to do about it, Mo?
But why is that acceptable?
What are you going to do about it?
Because what I'm saying is this. I'm gonna say. Let me say 2 things. I'll answer your question because I want to say this one thing. We can never underestimate the power of words, and the reason why I say that is if one YouTuber doesn't say what he says, I'm not sitting here talking to you tonight. And what he said in his video says, "Don't be a talker, be a doer."
Yes.
And that shit rung a bell in me.
Right.
So we can't poo-poo. We can't poo-poo words because a man changes his mind first, then he changes his actions, right?
Yeah.
And what changes your mind? Words, messages, knowledge, right?
Yeah.
So now I don't want to poo-poo that. Now you say, what do we do differently? I think that was your question.
What are you going to do about it? Motherfuckers just told you, you can't use these words on my platform. What are you going to do, Mo? You still gonna use those words?
No.
Okay then. So what are you gonna do?
No, I'm saying, but that's why I respect it. You know what I'm saying? You're saying how you roll over here. But what I'm saying to you is that right? The reason why I'm saying is that right
is subjective.
I just came out of oppression. Hold on, listen to what I'm saying. I just came out of oppression in this gender war in the Black community where Black men couldn't say shit I'm not going backwards. You see it, Hotep. You see what's going on. Black men have said we're taking our ball and we're going home. You don't want to play what we're playing? We're taking our ball and going home. Reproduce without us. Or realign your attitude. And by doing that, things are slowly changing. You see certain platforms coming up where it's like, you know what? Maybe we need to soften our approach. Maybe we need to look at these men differently. And you know what? We need to leverage that energy into something else. And I agree with you. We need to build our own. But for you to think that just everybody, and this is one of the things we talk about. I speak for the working class, the working man. You speak for the entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're saying to you is build it, Hotep. We'll support you.
Right. No, that's the road. That's the road I'm on.
Symbiotic relationship. Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I'm not knocking you for building it, but what I'm just saying is build it and we'll use it as we see fit.
You know what's wrong with the world?
And when you get your platform up, what?
We don't make great children. That's what's wrong with the world. And the left understands this. That's why they control the educational system. That's why the system understands it. They create your children. They're the ones that program your children. How come we don't program our children? That's where this thing comes back down to. That's how you change the future. That's power.
Because I'm gonna say this. Our generation is afraid of what society thinks. My pops used to tell me, I don't care what they tell you over that damn school.
Right.
This is how it is. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Take this Malcolm X autobiography of Malcolm X and read.
Sure.
But now we're like, I don't want my kids to say Malcolm X. You know, they might think he's a hate monger, and and then we might get kicked out of school, and it might end up on his college resume, and he might not get into a decent university. You see what I'm saying? We have to push back at this now.
Push back
before it gets any further.
Push back how?
First with our money.
Okay.
First with our money.
Mm-hmm.
Use the platforms as little as possible. You still have to use the platform. I'm gonna tell you, I had left social media, but I had to let my people know I was gonna be on here tonight. So it's like, crap. How do I do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I have email. You know what I'm saying? I have emails.
Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying?
It's addictive. I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you. It's addictive. It's ingrained in our cult. It's ingrained in our society. It's ingrained, in everything that we do.
Mo,
it's ingrained now.
There has been.
If you was having this conversation in 2007, maybe, but we've been on here for 13 years with smartphones.
Mo, there has been a power structure that has controlled the world since at least the 13th century, or I should say, controlled the Western world. Since at least the 13th century. And there are things that are written in the stars that are going to take place. And in the future, the only people who will be free are those who control their own destiny. Those who have Hotep and built. There will be people who will have constructed their own cell phones, free of the Apple and the Googles. There will be people who have constructed their own communication networks. This is in all of our dystopian movies. There are going to be separate communication lines. They're being built right now. They're not being built by going online and tweeting. You see, what happens is I can't go to my mama's house cussing. It's her house. So if the left builds some shit and you're there, you are a guest in their house. If you don't like it, you go cuss and use all the words you want to use in your own house. You got to remember, I'm a type of person who's a...
So let me ask you this question. So we when you're brokering your deals for you, whatever you're building, you have to use some kind of communication, right? Email, telephone. Whenever they say no, Hotep, no. Can't use our telephone lines to talk about that. What you gonna be, Graham Bell, and run some more line?
I would celebrate.
I mean, that's what
I would
we're
celebrate,
at, like, no.
Mo. I'm built different than the rest of these niggas, Mo. I would celebrate. The day they cut my line off and tell me I can't do it, I would celebrate. You know why, Mo? Because I'm a type of nigga that just love circumstances where I gotta overcome. Because when I figure out how I'm gonna communicate without their telephone, this is why they don't ban Hotep Jesus. They scared of what I'm gonna do without they shit.
Right, and that's why our community needs all of us.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm not scared of these motherfuckers. I don't give a fuck about their little bitch ass rules. You got some rules? I'll play by your rules because I'm in your house. I know what it's like to wipe my feet off and take my shoes off when I'm in somebody's house. You don't want me to say certain shit on your platform? Cool. I really don't need to say it. What I do need to make sure is that my friends, my family, my children know the truth. I don't need to be spreading it. I can do that through publishing books, through publishing blogs, through my email. There's different ways I can disseminate information. It's not only through this. In fact, it's not even effective to disseminate information through microblogging. The best way to disseminate information is through long form formats, like documentaries. They can't stop you from publishing a documentary. You might not be able to publish a documentary on their platform. That's what we do over. But you can publish that shit.
That's what we do every episode over, you know, saying, with the podcast.
There you go.
It's long form. Well, all I'm just saying is this. We need people like you. We need people like me.
Yes.
Maybe I just want to wake up, you know, say that ain't right.
What does that even mean?
YouTube,
that ain't right.
Twitter.
That ain't right. Like,
what do you mean?
What does that mean? It ain't right.
I'm gonna explain. I'm gonna explain to you what I'm saying. If we're saying these are the rules we're playing by, and that's what I mean, but that ain't right. And that's why I always say, call the game the same. You like basketball, right?
Yeah.
If I come down the court, I hack you, they don't blow the whistle.
Yeah.
But then you come back down the court and you barely tap me and they call me a foul.
Right.
It's not calling the game the same way.
Yeah.
I don't care if you call it tight or loose, just call it the same on both ends of the court.
Who paid the referee?
That's all we're asking for. And if these rules, hold on. If these rules,
who paid the referee though? That's what we got to get back to.
If these rules, right? If
you
these
just
rules
a player,
don't exist, stop telling the people that they exist. Well, if the rules don't exist, stop saying they exist.
That's
stop
part saying, of the rules.
It's a constitutional.
That's
right, it's
part
a constitutional
of the rules.
crisis.
Part of the rules is saying who it applies to, Mo. Part of their unwritten law book is saying who does it apply to. For example, they had the nerve to say that communicating on these platforms is a human right when Uganda shut Twitter down. That's hypocritical because you just took away a whole bunch of people's human rights when you deplatform them. Absolutely. It's hypocritical.
And now we get back to the problem. Are you being hypocritical or not?
Okay.
If you're being hypocritical, something needs to change.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. I don't care how you call it. I don't care what the rules are. You can't say this.
My thing is you not going to change them. You think complaining about the problem, so? How you going to change this? How you going to change them? How you going to change them, yo?
What you just said? You just said yourself.
Y'all tried to march on the Capitol and they labeled y'all the T word.
You just said yourself.
Uh-huh.
If you log off, it collapses.
Yes.
So what we need to say is they're gonna call it this way. See, what they've had to do is plausible deniability. Oh, well, we're not really biased. You know what I'm saying? look, if you're gonna ban orange, nobody can say orange.
Yeah.
And you kick everybody out the platform and say orange. I'm for it.
But you asking for fairness.
You know what I'm saying? I'm all for it.
Mo. We asking for fairness from people that's not gonna be fair. Why are we doing that? That don't make no sense, Mo.
Because if you
asking the bully
the
to stop bullying you. He's a bully. That's what the bully does.
I don't. But if you,
what do you do to a bully? What do you do to a bully? How do you get through to a bully?
You got to punch him in the face.
Okay, now we getting to the root of the problem.
Right. But what I'm saying to you is the more and more people you convince that it's hypocritical, the more and more likely they are to log off. All I'm saying is just let the sunshine in and say, look, this is hypocritical.
Everybody knows it's hypocritical.
You said this on this side.
We all know it. And what do you mean? There's memes floating all day on my timeline.
Now we get to the crux of the problem.
How people don't know it's hypocritical.
They're hypocritical.
No, hypocrites don't want to admit they're hypocritical. They know they're hypocritical. There's a difference.
See, and I don't think that's the case. Because if you knew you were hypocritical, you know how stupid you look. You would know how stupid you look by saying that.
That's part of Saul Alinsky's rules for radicals. Never giving up that ground.
Right.
Bold-faced lying. This is part of their strategy.
But that's
rules for you, none for me.
Highest levels.
Rules for thee, none for me.
But that's at the highest.
That's how this system operates.
At the highest levels.
That's what you get to do when you got power.
That's at the highest levels. But that's at the highest levels. I'm talking about the everyday average citizen. The everyday average citizen on the left don't think they're hypocritical.
No.
They don't.
No, that's not true.
Think they are justified. I'm just telling you.
No. Okay. They are in denial. Well, you'll even see them even when you argue them really well, they'll short circuit. Right? That cognitive dissonance.
And do that silly ass laughing.
Yeah.
And do that silly. That's when they do that silly ass laughing.
See the ego. You see the ego doesn't.
I don't really have an answer.
The shadow of the ego doesn't allow you to admit when you're wrong. It doesn't allow you to admit your faults.
Okay,
they know they're hypocritical. They don't want to admit it.
So you asked me a question about is the left white supremacist, or why is it that when you ask an average everyday black voter, why don't you tell me the difference between Joe Biden and Donald Trump? That's how you know they don't realize they're hypocritical, because they can't tell you. It's clear as day. They can't tell you, but it's like then they go back into this mind control. And I'm big on mind control. I'm big on supplanting ideas in people's minds to where they don't think for themselves, and they just go right. And when you talk to people, you can hear the talking points just pour out their mouth. It's like, damn, do you write for CNN? It's just they fall right into blah, 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 blah. And it's like whatever they're loaded up with, they just regurgitate it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you give them too much credit to be critical thinkers. I don't think they're critical thinkers. Actually, I subscribe. This is one of the things I picked up from the 5% Nation, is the 85, 10, and 5. And I'm sure you're aware
85% of dumb, deaf, and blind, 10% understand it and don't use it righteously, or 5% understand it and use it righteously.
Well, no, yeah. Right. So when you say the majority know what's going on, I beg to differ. I believe they're in the 85% of dumb, deaf, and blind, and they just regurgitate whatever they're told is safe.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, this mainstream tell me this.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just, oh, yes. So when I look at them, I have empathy.
Yeah.
For them.
Yeah.
To say, you don't really know what's going on, do you?
Yeah. Let me read
and you had to walk them through it step by step.
Let me read the super chat, because this money talks. Sayos said, my mom hated the Dems for emasculating Irishmen to control the Irish. Sounds like they're playing the same game on blacks, but with better media. Indeed. Fudge Mayo, we owned these lands before. Why want it back? Mo Flush, listening to this great talk while watching the game on mute. There you go. Cassius Cam, create a new culture, not cry in the existing one. That's how I feel. Big Bang Hank, Thomas Sowell said, if you don't support the only document that guarantees your rights, then you have none. Speech must be free. Indeed. Tommy Riley, universities are indentured servitude. You trade knowledge for debt. That debt controls your actions of society. Derek Hopkins, part 2, very interesting. Another great one. Great discussion, Mo. I always enjoy these debates with you.
I always like talking to you, Hotep. For real, for real. Because you challenged me to think, you were saying what I actually think.
Yeah.
And we need more of that.
I gotta convert you to Hotep. But a lot of
people don't. And I think you're super intelligent, Hotep.
I'm not.
But I think when you're super intelligent, that people bro, come on now, knock it off.
I'm not intelligent. I'm
I ain't
conscious.
gonna let you downplay yourself like that.
No. I'm not intelligent. I am conscious. I am highly conscious.
Okay. Okay. But what I'm saying to you is, a lot of times when you're conscious, you think everybody else is conscious to your level, and that's a huge assumption to make.
Oh no, I understand that they're not.
Bro, we got to put hot on top of coffee cups. I mean, this is what the world we live in. I'm just saying. You got people 300-400 pounds can't figure out why am I unhealthy? Right. And I'm not knocking anybody's over. I'm just saying that they're in such a deep slumber. You had, and I keep going back to the black man because I'm an advocate for black men and specifically working family black men, because I don't think there's any advocate for that group. I really don't. When you have your advocate for single black men, high value black men, all the other black men, highly conscious brothers like yourself, but nobody speaks for the working man that gets up every day and puts his boots on and goes to work and just want to come home and not have his kids propagandized. Nobody speaks for them. So that's the voice I'm for. And that's it's important. Not that we're not conscious. It's not that we're not conscious. It's like, I don't want to hear that shit. Right. Like, honestly, I got that by Christmas. The baby needs shoes.
Wifey need a new dress.
But then you push me in a corner. It's like, right. But then you push me into this corner where we're going to have a drag queen come read to your child in kindergarten. What?
Because
you make me take action. Like, you keep pushing me and pushing me and pushing me to the point is no. I don't want no. I'm not gonna vote Democrat without tangibles. I'm not gonna buy into all this bullshit stereotypes and propaganda about black men. I'm not buying into it no more. Yeah. Give me my damn pants back.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Sorry, I had to go on a rant. But I mean, that's who I speak for. So when you're speaking to me, I'm highly conscious as well, but I have the ability to see it through the working man's eyes because, bro, I done worked all the jobs from fast food to, I heard you was having a conversation about that. I worked fast food to warehouse and work with every kind of person, ex-cons and, luckily I made it to, corporate America. But even then I worked from the ground up in there. So I have a understanding or a perspective. And when that young man said, I won't say his name, but when he said, don't be a talker, be a doer, he rung that bell. So never underestimate your words. Because that rung my bell that I couldn't unring. And it's like, you know what? You right. And then you're saying, long story short, I'm here talking to you right now. You're saying, like, just off of one man's words.
Right. Indeed.
So
Moe Factz, y'all. Press 1 in the chat if y'all enjoyed this conversation. I'm sure this won't be our last conversation. I'm sure we'll be back very, very soon.
I got to check in every so often. One day
Absolutely.
I'm gonna have to get you over and have to run some clips down for you because some things I want to get your opinion and perspective on as well.
Whenever you need me, I'm there. Whenever you
All
need
right.
me, I'm there. Moe Factz, y'all, make sure y'all hit the link in the description box below. Subscribe to his channel, man. Go subscribe to his channel. Got some hot takes during this interview. Good time. Mo, go ahead, get out of here. I'm gonna go close the show out. Any last words for the people?
Yeah, just one. Pay
Okay.
attention to everything, and the truth will reveal itself.
I love that quote. All right, Mo, go ahead, get out of here. Let me close the show out.
All right, take care of yourself, Hotep. See you later.
All right, my bro. Moe Factz, y'all. The man, the myth, the anonymous legend. Hold on, I'll be right back. Watch this message from our sponsor.
Ladies and gentlemen, Pogs and Malls, guess what? The greatest award show of all time is almost upon us.
The 2020 Grifties is almost here. Make sure y'all subscribe to youtube.com/HotepJesus. The show airs on January 21st. We are starting off the year big, baby.
Big!
The Grifties is coming, y'all. The Grifties are coming. Oh, let me get y'all the link. Put the link right here. Put the link right here. Boom. You got to subscribe to the other channel. It's a dedicated channel just for the Grifties. We're going to have some bonus content that's going to come out over there. We're building a whole new channel over there. Make sure y'all get in tune. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. This conversation will be up on Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts in the near future. In the meantime, Hotep and Bill, man, I love y'all. Be safe. Be smart. Be conscious. Hotep and Bill, man, I love y'all. Be safe. Be smart. Be conscious.